The one thing that the MCU has been missing is SEX.
How about no? Welcome to She-Hulk Behind the Scenes Part 2, the show that makes you wonder if any of the creators have a body count equivalent to the GDP of a small nation. Part 1 is linked down in the description below.
People have love lives, so I was very excited to be able to have that.
You had that, and Jen had everybody.
Because that is such a huge part of everybody's lives.
I mean, it might be a huge part of the people that you know, over in California, the people that spend decades focused on their career to the point where they just bang everything in the sight in the desperate hope that it will fill the cold, empty void in their soul. How very modern.
And here's the thing, like dating in your 30s, already awful. The worst.
If dating in her 30s is the worst, shouldn't you have made a show about how focusing on a career in her 20s was a terrible idea? Why am I miserable? I just don't know.
That was a test to make sure you're listening.
To be fair, it was pretty difficult to focus on the show.
I like doing little tests on first dates.
Jen can be quite tight.
That was way more information than I ever wanted. And also, by this point in time, press X to doubt.
Wound.
Oh, I wondered where that sentence was going. My pause game's on point.
Is there anything worse than dating in your 30s?
Dating in your 40s? I mean...
Todd is a billionaire, playboy, philanthropist,
You're making yourself sound like Batman.
douchebag.
Maybe Iron Man.
He meets She-Hulk on a date. He's a total creep.
Was he? I can't really remember it, but I don't think he did anything that bad.
She's so powerful.
Was that your example? A compliment?
One specimen.
That's still a compliment.
It's very obvious he wants more than anything to sleep with She-Hulk.
That's because he's a man. I don't know if you've noticed, but for men, it doesn't even cost half a plate of chips. If that was one of your clues, let's hope you never get writing for Poirot.
Then it becomes a little bit more apparent that there's a much seedier reason.
When? When did it become a little bit more apparent? Because you're showing his reveal, and we went from, do you want to go to a restaurant, to, I've just created a Hulk super serum, and now I'm going to kill all of you. It had the subtle reveal of a sledgehammer to the face.
Take She-Hulk's power! Take She-Hulk's power!
It's not the catchiest of chants, is it?
John Bass is just wonderful. He's odious and horrible.
That's everything you want in a man, is it? I think we may have just found out why you think it's horrible to date in your 30s. It's your taste. You're picking them.
But you also kind of love him.
The defense rests, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't just get handed my powers.
What was that? I don't think these writers have ever had a social interaction with a man in their lives. No, the ones in Hollywood don't count.
Yeah, it's the most fun.
Because they do things like that.
Yeah, it's the most fun to play the villain. If you don't know that, know it now.
People in Hollywood think it's the most fun to play the villain. Just keep finding more explanations from Mark Ruffalo's Twitter feed, don't we?
They asked me to come back and do this, and I said, that sounds like fun.
I'm sensing a butt coming.
And then they came up with this notion of the character, which it's a fine line between embarrassing and pretentious.
He sounds like a hostage victim. Well, they gave me this pitch and it sounded really fun, and then I signed, and they explained more.
Tim is a character.
I can see why they pay you the big bucks. Her other deep analysis includes She-Hulk CGI and Snoopy's a dog.
He is a total character.
Such a complex thought, she had to repeat it just in case she didn't get it the first time.
I'm actually appalling myself at this time.
Sounds like he really enjoyed his job, didn't he? And even her grin is sort of, he hates it.
On the page, he was much more likable.
Do you think she even realizes what she's just said? Well, we wrote him to be a really likable character. But then Tim Roth came in, and he's insufferable, he really is.
And Tim brought these layers where you don't know if she should trust him.
Well, that's because he's abomination. If anything, it was insane how fast she did trust him, which was basically as soon as she met him.
But at the same time, he still deserves justice.
He was serving justice in prison.
Because she is like, I don't really want to do this. This guy tried to kill my cousin, but what happened to him was wrong. The Jen Walters who will fight for what is right.
To party.
No matter what.
You're supposed to be a comedian. You set yourself up a great line there. You didn't even take it.
Yes, Emil Blonsky is a polarizing figure.
He's called Abomination. Abominations tend to be quite polarizing.
But he has served adequate prison time.
Literally didn't even serve his sentence. I never actually realized there was a sign on the wall that said, "Today is today." That's almost on par with Tatiana calling Abomination a character.
We are breaking down some of the relationships that are kind of clogging us up as individuals.
What the hell was that sentence supposed to be? Our relationships are clogging us up as individuals? I thought many things about that episode, but I never thought that the people in it had relationship constipation. There really are levels of BS that can only come from paying thousands of dollars to an academic with a degree. There's no way he came up with that himself. That's definitely come from a therapist.
And, doing the work.
You can tell those weren't his words, considering after he said them, he had nothing else to say about it.
We just trying to be good people. We just have different perspective on what good is.
So you're not trying to be good people then? Oh, we're just giving different perspectives on moral outlooks in the world. No, you're just evil. Just because no one in California has a moral compass doesn't mean you're doing something deep and complex when you're evil.
We're shooting a very atypically long scene here.
Your entire episodes are only 23 minutes. After that, any scene's abnormally long.
But this is like a 16-page scene.
There was not 16 pages of dialogue in that scene. But look at this guy over here. He is pissed at this cameraman. If looks could kill, I don't know what the cameraman's done to him, but I would be staying well away.
Really see She-Hulk Jen really kind of open herself up.
Half the male cast have seen Jen open herself up. I don't know why this is special.
Share her vulnerabilities.
Why would anyone want to share Jen's vulnerabilities? The entire scene was just a narcissist attention seeker. Oh, I'm going to go into a room and just get 6 men to stand around in a circle and listen to me whine about absolutely nothing. Oh, however will I cope without my attention? I might shrivel up and die.
And I think it's a really beautiful opportunity to connect with who Jen really is.
Insufferable. She spent the entire thing whining about how a guy that she'd strung along for far longer than everyone else she'd ever met didn't call her back after she did with him what she'd done with everybody else she'd ever met. After this many times, you'd think you'd be used to it.
Everyone legitimately does pay attention when I'm this.
See, it's all about attention. I just want to be the center of attention, as she literally sits in a circle with 6 other people staring at her.
Guys, colleagues, my boss.
I am the sponge that will just absorb all of your precious time.
It does feel like cheating. I wonder if those people would like me without all of this.
No, I mean, to be fair, I don't like you with all of that either, so, seems fair to me.
It epitomizes like,
They really did just write a show based around their own insecurities, didn't they? Oh, I wonder if I went out without my makeup on, will I still be the center of attention? What a horrible way to film, though. I mean, it looks like they're about to just drill out some drywall. A lot of dust in the air that day, was there?
epitomizes like these dual sides of our lives. I think we all want to be She-Hulk, but we really relate to being Jen Walters.
What? What are you on about, Jennifer? Do you see what I mean about how She-Hulk was just a self-insert for all of these people? Oh, that character is so me. Everyone can identify as this. No, they can't. It's just you and your little Hollywood Californian bubble, you lunatics. I mean, deep down, we'd all like to be a big green superhero who doesn't actually want to go out and save anyone and just want to focus on their career. But really, deep down, we all identify as Jen, the rampant whore. If we could get these people's lives and play them back on a projector screen, I think it'd just resemble a middle-class version of Shameless.
You can stop using She-Hulk as a protective shield and trust us with Jen.
He should have laughed when she transformed back. That actually would have been funny.
But you really get into the intricacies of what she's dealing with emotionally.
I never wanted to. Her emotions aren't complicated. She's sad, lonely, and miserable. Being a lawyer will do that to you. Oh, but let's analyze why. Yes, it's her life decisions. This isn't complicated. Does she change her life to improve her emotional well-being? No, she just doubles down. I mean, she hasn't learned by 36. Why would you expect her to change?
Brava.
Good job. I gotta say, that felt really good.
I bet you say that to all the guys.
I'm a fan.
Of what? How were you a fan of a show that hasn't been made yet? I mean, I know you're supposed to be magic, but that's pushing it a bit far, don't you think? You see how they do the magic tricks there? It's just LED light strips on the ground. Disney CGI, courtesy of Philips Hue, where no expense was spared.
Weave myself into all of these series.
They've got the spinning lights again. This is a still image. It looks worse when he's going through it.
Finally.
Don't worry, we'll fix it in post.
Lost track of time. I was watching the series finale of Breaking Bad.
Never watched Breaking Bad before She-Hulk. It makes the quality difference all the more sharp.
It's just fantastic to portal in and out.
It's so fantastic to portal. I get to stand in front of an LED light strip. Height of my acting career.
We are in the theater.
I don't know about anyone else, but I think I can see the ropes. It looks like a scene out of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
We were going to shoot in a real theater here in Atlanta, and it was pretty locked in. And then last minute, you know, we're doing so much work to the theater, maybe we should just build it.
Do you understand how insane what you just said was?
Pretty locked in, and then last minute,
we were going to go to a theater, it was locked up, it was last minute, and then we thought, should we build an entire theater? This sounds like an incredibly well thought out creation. No wonder it did so well. Now, I'm no expert in set design, but surely no matter how much work you need to do to a real location, it will always be less than building it, just by virtue of it actually existing. How much work do you really need to do to a theater to make it look like a theater?
It was inspired by old style theaters.
So are a lot of theaters, because there's a name for modern theaters. Cinemas.
So full of mirabillas of...
If you can work out what she said there, you're a better man than me.
So full of mirabillas of...
Milo's got his ass over? Seriously, I have no idea.
So full of mirabillas of...
It's full of Milio's ass over, is what I hear.
My side rows and my front and my back rows have a mix of like chairs and tables.
I can understand why you needed your own set. Well, the difference between a real theatre and the one we created was we added tables. Plot, what we've learned from this all-female creation team is that they've spent a lot on the wardrobes, more than any other show with CGI in it, and they really like the fashion dressing of tables. Maybe next time get someone in charge who can exercise restraint.
And the fight can take place, and they became a little bit more dynamic.
I love seeing these things without the CGI. That was awesome. They need to release the entire episode without CGI. I want to see this.
Yeah, just wave your arms about. It'll be fine.
His name is Donnie Blaze. That's his stage name. I won't reveal his actual name.
Well, cheers for that. I think you've just revealed enough already.
Scared I'll become more mystical than you?
That might have been the most obvious palming trick I've ever seen in my life.
We actually found a professional magician to advise.
No. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say he was a professional magician. No, he's just advising, folks. He's just advising. The magician's under the camera. Typical magician, always hiding. I was going to say no professional magician would do a palming trick that badly.
Reese has been working, you know, super diligently. Card tricks, rabbits, doves.
Why did he learn card tricks? He didn't even do card tricks in the show. Now he's just pissing about on your time.
Wow, it's a very humble profession called magic. I've been going...
No, it isn't. Magic's literally renowned for being verbose. The entire thing is going on stage and telling the audience, I'm going to lie to you and you're going to enjoy it. There's nothing humble about that. It's just the most honest profession, because although they do lie to you, everybody knows that's what they're doing.
I've been going around trying to practice my trick. Entertained, but then also sort of want nothing to do.
Wait, was that supposed to be a trick? It just looked like you were on meth.
He opens a portal. It's a party girl played by...
Party girl. Well, that's one name for it.
Amazing comedian Patty Guggenheim.
The hardest thing to do, I think, is to play drunk convincingly.
I think she's just had a lot of practice. I mean, we could always ask Critical Drinker how he pulls it off. Although the answer might just be, it's not acting.
And she's so good at it that she said it's a dial.
I've drank so much I can act at every single drink. Just tell me how much I've consumed, and I'll tell you whether I'll go home with you or not. 4 drinks, well, I'll find you funny, but Thor, Love and Thunder still isn't going to be entertaining.
Yeah, I feel like I've been preparing for this role for a long time.
Comedian, no, I see it. My entire life has been leading to this moment. I feel like I've been preparing for that role reviewing She-Hulk myself.
Is that too personal?
Probably, but I'm not surprised. You got called a party girl by Jessica Gow. It doesn't leave much to the imagination.
Madison's like a superhero of the real world.
No, she isn't. How are you even gonna play that one? Well, you might be Superwoman, but I'm super drunken whore. I'm the only person on Earth that can visit as many bedrooms in one night as Santa Claus. But maybe I've judged too fast. How are you the superhero of the real world?
Who speaks for all of us?
Doesn't speak for me.
Yes, I heard that alcohol kills brain cells. And I'm like, so many brain cells, so little time.
She's present. She lives in the moment. And I think we can all take a lesson from her book.
How is that a superhero in the real world? Well, she exists in our time frame. I have a feeling I've got that power as well. What's your special ability? Well, I can consume whiskey and not time travel. Seriously, if she wants a real superpower, she should just take 1 IQ point from everyone she spent the night with. The universe wouldn't stand a chance.
I kind of like browned out and now I'm here.
Did you ever check that she was actually acting and not just, like, drunk. Because to me, it just seems like that'd be a perk of the job.
Sort of just, he's kind of got this poppy dog, really, that he can't really do anything about.
Oh, go get him, Tiger. She's at least 4 drinks in. Just don't get her to watch Thor, Love and Thunder. You'll be fine.
The fun of the show is to combine this legal world and all of the possibilities around superhero weirdness.
You didn't have a legal show. A legal show would involve the law. And one thing that we all realized very slowly was that none of us are adept at writing rousing trial scenes. But no, please get back to telling us how you're a legal drama.
What could happen when you think of the legal ramifications of some really amazing, awesome powers?
Not much, to be honest. I have a feeling that all of the crimes that they would do would still just fall under the same old common crimes. Even in your own example that you put in your show and then your documentary, it was literally just a guy trying to avoid his ex-wife stealing his money.
I am able to regenerate after death. Unfortunately, I don't have any other strength.
Is that because you're a man? I do think that an immortal being is far more likely to end up as Captain Jack Harkness than this guy. All that life experience and suffering that you will inevitably have gone through would definitely toughen you up. The only way I could see you end up like this is if you consumed a steady diet of soy for 1,000 years. I mean, that's going to take its toll on anyone. The only things that can defeat a man with an infinite lifespan are Quorn and Jessica Gow's writing.
I'm not strong or fast or necessarily very bright, but I can come back after I die.
And an infinite amount of lives would lead to the former. Besides, just before this scene, a load of women were whining at you in a room and you jumped out a window to get away from them. Seems pretty smart to me.
Are you saying that instead of having a conversation with your wife, you kill yourself to get out of the relationship?
Whoa. You can tell he's been married before. And he's come to that realization based on a vast amount of experience of being married multiple times before. I don't know, love. Maybe he just knows a bit more about it than you do.
I'm immortal, so I can't die.
I don't know why you're giving him that look, love. He's not wrong, is he?
Mallory and I clearly side with the women.
Clearly, because, you know, everyone that's got ovaries needs to stick together. Empowerment! Look, I know he's our client and we're supposed to be standing up for him, but clearly we side with the other people. You really are a great bunch of lawyers, aren't you?
We have to represent him, and we had a lot of really funny local Atlanta-based guest stars.
Wait, I'm sorry, was this scene supposed to be funny? I think one of the biggest insults of a comedy might be your audience not realizing it's supposed to be funny. Even a bad joke, you know it's meant to be a joke.
I spent $10,000 on a New Orleans jazz funeral.
Yeah, but where was the joke? I didn't cut that. That was their example of the comedy. I'm getting gaslit by a documentary at this point.
The way that the three of them really work together is very funny to watch.
What was funny about it? And do you think they set these actors up based on who they liked and hated the most? Because this woman has the back of her head to a massive light, whereas these two over here have to do the entire scene staring straight into it. I don't know, it just seems like when people said choose your seats, a couple of people got a better deal than the rest.
You're gonna have to pay.
And that's when you realized she was a terrible lawyer. Oh, it's amazing. I really enjoy losing. Because you see all those people over there? Yeah, they're going to steal all of your money. They're going to take things that they never worked for and never earned. Actually, maybe everyone should watch She-Hulk in their lives. It'll save a lot of mistakes.
Why are you smiling?
Exactly. The show wants you to think he's the bad guy, but the lawyer is the villain of the piece. She takes pleasure in losing her own case just because she's defending a man. Oh, well, they deserve the money. They existed in the present or something. It's their superpower.
It's kind of fun.
It's so fun giving away your money to people that don't deserve a penny. Jessica Gow's fiance, welcome to your future. You can't say you weren't warned. She made an entire series about it.
Another character that was so well portrayed and such a great surprise was Runa.
What? I know this is a behind the scenes, but you're going to do an entire section about a side character that no one cared about in one single episode? One who did one of the worst things that you can do to a person, and the show didn't even think it was wrong. If we wanted an example of their moral compass, I think we're about to get it.
We were auditioning like young, beautiful women. We really could not find somebody, and
We're auditioning really young, beautiful women, but we couldn't find anyone. So we chose you. Oh, you're doing wonders for that woman's self-esteem. She's my favorite one of the creation team because she's so honest and has no idea about the implications of what she's saying.
I had this crazy dream that...
No, you didn't make an important decision about how to run a television show based off a dream. Well, I'm so glad to tell you that you've been hired because Pisces is in Uranus. If someone came to me and told me they hired a person because of a dream, I would fire them. I'd keep the person they hired, but I would fire the person that hired them. This is meant to be a business. Can we have a bit of logic, please?
I had this crazy dream that Taika and Jon Favreau were like, Kat, you need to play this role.
No. This gets better the more it goes on, as we crash face first into a wall. Taika Waititi and Jon Favreau came to me in a dream and told me that I had to be in the show. I was like, but Taika, I'd already inserted myself into Jen. That was my character. And he's like, yes, but you need to be somebody else as well. You need to be a woman that shape changes and takes a man against his will. When I have dreams, it's like I'm a member of a SWAT team defusing a bomb that's got 5 seconds left to explode. Hers is Jon Favreau telling her she should attack a guy. I get the feeling we don't exist in the same kind of world.
We've both been in the movies. You need to play the shapeshifter.
I've been in the movies just like you. You too can take a man against his will. Go on, it's what you've always wanted to do. This is just her subconscious projecting.
Woke up and I was like, no, I definitely don't want to play the shapeshifter.
Yeah, I can see why. The character's just got this small problem called consent.
But maybe the takeaway is I want someone old.
Oh, you're amazing! Why are you so funny behind the stage, but not funny when you write a comedy? Hey, I may not have liked the show, but watching this has made me like the cast.
And I'm not old, but I'm older than the girls we were auditioning.
Maybe we should pick someone old. I'm not old. I'm not old. I'm not old. But when I dreamt about myself, I thought we should hire someone old. Yeah, okay. Seriously, it was funnier when you were just being honest. You didn't need to try and cover for yourself.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's like, well, I wasn't old. But the person we hired was, she's as old as dirt.
I am like the ultimate entitled brat.
I don't know whether she means her or a character. And I'm not sure entitled is the word for it. Most people would say rape.
Runa, she developed a delicious appetite for creating.
I did wonder where that was going to go. She's developed a delicious appetite for cock. Sorry, what's her appetite for? I got distracted.
Trouble.
Oh, trouble. Creating trouble. Sorry. The moment you got to the C bit, I was like, I know where this is going. I don't think it's my fault so much as it was just the obsession of the show.
A normal person became a superhero one day. It's not like you can just Yelp, like, superhero clothes.
You didn't even know who to ask when you got there. He just gave her shorts and a top. It wasn't impressive. Also, we don't know who to ask to get superhero clothes. Yeah, considering most of their suits were made by Tony Stark after he's died, I don't think they'd know where to get superhero costumes from, let alone anyone else.
Where do they shop?
My client list is very exclusive because my work is impeccable and I'm very discreet. Just ask any one of the Avengers.
No wonder you cut that bit out. The Avengers suits were made by Tony Stark, not you. So he's basically taking credit for work he's never done. Which member of the cast told you to cut that bit out? Because, I don't know, they'd seen the movies. Rare as that is inside Disney, I'm sure.
When I first got the job, I got to tour the warehouse. There's a Marvel warehouse.
You've got to be kidding me, right? So when I was hired to work on a Disney project, they took me, and you'll never expect this, they took me to where they film all of the TV shows. Oh, please blow my socks off with this next revelation.
And I saw all of the incredible tailors and designers making the actual costumes.
You're not gonna say that they're just like you in the show, are they? And they're basically making the real superhero costumes. They work with cloth. They're the real designers.
And so I learned a lot. There's a lot of precision. There's a lot of artistry.
You're making clothes, dude, not the next Picasso.
So it just informed my character.
Are you saying you method acted because you watched someone with a sewing machine? Their suits have things like rocket launchers, flamethrowers, and laser guns. And you had a sewing machine. I wouldn't mind. I could suspend disbelief. But not when you come on a show and start telling me how impressive it all is.
Order extra bolts of the stretch wool. We're going to need a lot.
We're gonna make a high-tech costume out of wool. Seriously, the dude doesn't even come up with his own fabric. I'm not exactly sure you're gonna make the best superhero costumes if all of your fabric is designed by a sheep.
And then I also went down a rabbit hole of like black hairstyles. And I landed at an 80s mullet.
I can't be the only one that's confused. It's when you hear things like that, it's like, yeah, actually, maybe this wasn't made for me. I don't even think on that kind of level. The only reason my hair is even this long is because I'm too lazy to get it cut. Whereas this guy went through the decades to work out what he wanted to look like. I'm like, the only person that'll see me today is a camera anyway. What does it matter?
Rub it and rip it.
Pick a lane, man.
Like I say, I want to see that show without the CGI. And I love how the cameraman is still filming him so intently, even though he's just sitting on the floor going, It's like, look, I know the CGI will entirely destroy my shot, but this is really important. At least someone's taking their job seriously, because the writers sure didn't.
You know, Kat sent me a picture the night before of, like, my throne.
Why am I not surprised that you only got to find out about your role the night before? It's like, yeah, I only found out about my character as I was driving to the studio. Explains a lot, doesn't it?
We had scouted this auto part place, and we had this very dark, stereotypical villain's lair.
What kind of car showrooms are you going to, love? Yeah, well, I wanted a villain's lair like they have on Bond, and so I went to look at Fiat Punto dealerships.
Can't believe this dodo has henchmen.
Oh no, we're about to get to the Daredevil section. This ought to be interesting.
We were in the writer's room and breaking the show.
I mean, at least they're self-aware.
You know, we really thought a lot of the magic of the show, aside from living in Jen's world, would
There's no magic in Jen's world. There's a lot of shame and degeneracy, but there's no magic.
be tying it to the larger MCU with all of these different kind of court cases.
Ah, yes. When we were making She-Hulk, we thought most of the good things about it would be coming from things that we didn't create ourselves. Actually seems like a solid plan, I gotta be honest.
We put Daredevil on kind of like a wish list because we were all fans of Charlie's and of the original show.
And he's a character that simultaneously had something made of quality that people actually like, while also not being a major movie star. It's something that simultaneously the fans would want to give respect and attract them to the show, while also probably not being something that Disney give a crap about. Pretty Machiavellian, I've gotta be honest.
He's a guy who's doing what Jen Walters is pushing up against.
What, actually being a good lawyer? You know, Jen's actually an awful lawyer, but we've got to actually make her succeed for the show. And then we could bring in Daredevil, who's actually knows what he's talking about and can win.
Wanted to make him, you know, in keeping with the tone of the series,
The tone of the series just being that she bangs everyone.
little bit lighter, a little bit funnier, and also, who doesn't want to hook up with Daredevil?
I said it as a joke, but she's being serious. Like I said, when I do the TV series, I watch them first. I've not seen this in advance. I don't know what she's going to say. But every time I say something as a joke and she confirms it, it just proves that all of my assumptions during the reviews were correct. Because they're so predictable.
We're all feeling this, right? It's not just me.
No, it was definitely just you, love. She was like, oh, he's giving me the look. No, he was blind.
I was doing some theatre on Broadway with Tom Hiddleston.
I was doing theatre on Broadway, and the next thing I know, I'm in She-Hulk. I'd be questioning my agent about that decision, mate.
And of course, Kevin and Tom know each other very well, and Kevin came to see play, and I said hello afterwards and shook his hand, but there was no conversation whatsoever about coming back.
Oh, you're making me feel sorry for you, dude. So I was at a play and Kevin Feige came to see me, but he didn't discuss giving me another job or anything. Overall, I was quite upset by the experience. I'm going to be in theatre forever. I'm sorry.
And then it was on July 10th, phone rang, and it was Kevin Feige. And
I was like, hey, why didn't you mention this before? Am I some last-minute hire because you've realised that the show is awful and no one will watch it unless I'm in it? I realise you can't tell me that, because if you did, then you'd have to give me a raise.
I thought it was a prank. Kevin said that they had some plans for me, and...
It sounds like a threat. Hello? Yes, is this Daredevil? I've got plans for you. You will come and perform in She-Hulk, otherwise your house will look like a John Wick 2 film.
Me to potentially do a couple of things, and he just wanted to check and see if I was interested.
They want you to do a couple of things. Oh, was this like the cost? So they bribed you with the actual series of you can come back and do this, but you're gonna have to do She-Hulk first because that's a piece of trash and we need you.
Be part of the MCU, which was not a hard question to answer.
Why did all of that look like he was a kidnap victim doing a proof of life video? Yeah, they asked me to be part of the MCU and it wasn't a hard question to answer. No. Was that right? No, please don't point that at me.
Charlie had to inform me that the character could not, in fact, see.
Oh no! Dude, I mean, come on! I'm not a comic book guy, I'm a total normie, and yet there's been movies and television series about it. How do you not know when you're working in this industry that Daredevil can't see? Oh! Why, when you were told that he was one of the characters, did you not go back and look at the comics? Basic research, people.
That's not true.
Press X to doubt. I think he's covering for her, but you can make your own minds up.
There's a joke we've always had, which is that it's very easy to forget.
That sounds like BS to me. Oh, no, it's a joke. No, shh. Don't tell him you didn't even know Daredevil can't see. No, it's a joke, we promise. Look, it's just very easy to forget that Daredevil is blind, even though it's integral to his entire character and is in fact the reason for his character. It's incredibly easy to forget.
Matt Murdock is so capable, and that his visual impairment doesn't actually inhibit him in any way. You always have to be reminded that you can't actually really look at things in the same way.
There's no way. Watch her face. Watch her face as he says there is absolutely no way that this is a joke between them. She is completely stunned by everything he's saying. An in-joke would not involve this reaction.
You always have to be reminded that there are certain things you can't actually really look at things in the same way.
Actually, now you've said it that way, that's way better than what I was saying, where I was just admitting that I didn't know that Daredevil was blind. That's just the difference between someone that knows PR and someone that doesn't.
But, like, it can sound really condescending when I'm like,
it's not, he's not condescending.
It can sound really condescending way after a reminder about one of the main characters in our entire show, about what his abilities are. And so it should do, actually. Some people are worth condescending to.
One of the first things we scripted, they look at each other, and he's so politely, he's blind.
It sounds like she didn't know he was blind to me, from her own mouth. Yeah, this is where they look at each other. You do realize he can't see, right? That's not an in-joke. That's somebody that doesn't know who Daredevil is.
You know, I was a little bit like, God, I hope I still remember who this guy, how this guy is.
I mean, no one else on the show remembered who you were, so I don't know why you'd even be expected to. You might as well just come back and been able to see. It's not like anyone on the cast would have cared by the sounds of it.
As soon as that cowl was on his head, all of the extras, we had a big crowd, and all of the extras started applauding and cheering.
I'm convinced the editor of this show is just taking the piss out of him. Because she's doing this big impressive story about how he put the cowl on and everyone cheered and it was a glorious moment. And then the editor directly contradicts that by cutting in the reality of what happened. Oh yeah, what was this massive crowd of extras that were just cheering the moment he put his cowl on?
Extras, we had a big crowd, and all of the
It was one guy, wasn't it? It was one guy. Everyone else was thinking, I don't know what that suit looks like. I know it's from the comics, but it looks like ass. Why didn't you just use this old one? There was just one super fan in the background going, yeah, go Daredevil, whoa!
They asked me to come to Los Angeles to have a suit fitting, and I assumed it was just kind of like to see if the old one still fit.
That tends to be what suit fittings are for.
Make sure I hadn't put on too much weight.
Yeah, so I thought they wanted to make sure this suit still fit, but I didn't think they were going to do anything with it. I thought they were just curious. Yeah, we've kept this in the back for a while. We want to see if it's shrunk. We don't want you to ever wear it again. We just want to waste some money and check. I mean, I've still got clothes that are older than most Twitch streamers, but I don't feel the need to go and see if they still fit just for no reason whatsoever.
And I went to the costume department, and on the wall, there was a graphic. Initially, I was like, I couldn't figure out who it was.
Are you having a laugh? Look, I know it's a stupid costume and it looks like trash, but it's still very clearly Daredevil, even if they have made colours that only a blind person would choose. So I guess at least it does fit in with the lore. Because trust me, no one that could see would ever choose that as a suit.
Incorporated the gold or the...
Yeah, even in the comics, I can't stand it.
It feels like this is the first step in an evolution of this suit. It's almost meant to feel a little bit like a primer.
Oh, we're hinting at what you could possibly get in a future series. And you're definitely going to watch that series because She-Hulk was so amazing. It just left you thirsty for more. Well, I mean, it did me. But then again, I'm She-Hulk's biggest fan.
I'm so excited personally about her suit. It was something that, we as a team really developed.
It took a whole team to develop that. Look, we all got together as a team and what we came up with was Lycra. If we could make it look like she's about to go into a volleyball match, that would be perfect, thank you. Just what we're after.
Trying to figure out what is going to be the best look for Tatiana.
If you wanted a highly advanced superhero costume, did you really need to look like you just got it out the Sports Direct catalog?
Things we wanted to accomplish with her suit was have it be powerful.
Yeah, well, we made this thing that's like a short wetsuit, so she's just wearing neoprene. It's powerful empowerment. I have never seen anyone in a mini wetsuit and thought, oh, you just look so powerful. And trust me, if you need to save someone in a hurry, putting on a neoprene wetsuit is not the way forwards. Hold on, I'll be with you in about 10 minutes.
Not be male gazy and all.
Oh no. I thought we'd done it. I thought we'd gone through an entire hour of behind the scenes documentary without making something that was just written by massive bigots. I'd even said earlier in the show that this person was growing on me, that I actually was going to like her because she seemed like a funny person. even though she knew absolutely nothing about Daredevil. No, instead, is this the bigot part of the piece? Because it certainly seems like it.
Was have it be powerful, not be male gazy.
You didn't want something that men could appreciate, so you decided to go with something that was incredibly figure-hogging.
All hypersexual.
Define hyper, please. Why, when you're designing wardrobe, is the thing at the forefront of your mind, I want to make something that looks ugly. I want to make something that men don't like. Who hurt you?
But also be free and show her body off.
This is someone who has no idea what she wants, isn't it? Because when you take all of that together, what you get is the ravings of a deranged lunatic.
Was have it be powerful, not be male gazy and all hypersexual, but also be free and show her body off.
What I want is something that men don't like, that men despise, but also I want it to be something that men love and adore and show her body off. I mean, come on. It really feels like your self-insert, I don't want to be held accountable and responsible for my own actions is coming through here. No, I'm dressing like this because I don't want anyone to look at me, but please look at me, look at my curves. Here are my curves. Don't look at me though. I made this so you don't look at me and don't like it, but please look at me. What you've just defined into existence is a contradiction, which makes you look like you have no idea what you wanted in the wardrobe in the first place. And so you ended up with a piece of Adidas clothing.
She-Hulk smash.
Yeah, you just murdered about 6 people, love. It was interesting even in the TV show. I gotta be honest, that's more muscle than I was expecting. Although at this point, the moment anyone pulls that pose, the only person I can think of is Dr. Disrespect. I can no longer take it seriously, and I say that as someone who's wearing a She-Hulk t-shirt. I think I got a new thumbnail. I know this is a storyboard concept art of what it's meant to look like, but who's She-Hulk? That doesn't look anything like her.
We really struggled with the finale.
You know, I never would have guessed. Especially considering you made an entire episode leading to a certain point and then went, no! I need to hop out of the world and change the entire universe because Jen's still miserable.
Started off doing a lot of versions of the finale that were much more just like straight.
Yeah, that would have been a lot better, I agree.
And it just never felt right for us.
Because it would have been good. There certainly would have been a quality clash if you'd actually had a decent finale compared to the rest of the series. You know, with maybe a massive Hulk fight put in it, for instance.
And in like a big set piece fight.
We were gonna get a fight between Hulk and Abomination, and you thought, yeah, no one will want to see that. Who are you people?
Take out the bad guy, and it just always felt like, oh,
This is a different show now, you know? Everyone used to have superhero shows where they'd fight villains, whereas in this, we are the villains.
This isn't a Marvel movie, so why are you trying to make it end like a Marvel movie?
So you're blaming this on Kevin Feige? Or you're saying that She-Hulk would ruin the movies, and so he's like, look, we need some kind of degree of separation here because she's gonna cost us billions. At least with this, we can go, well, it was a comedy, it's entirely different. It didn't work, we were trying something new and wacky.
It's not what this show is, you know?
There are many things that this show isn't, and most of them are positive.
And it was just really wonderful and freeing for him to say that.
It was so freeing when I found out I didn't even need to make something of quality. They made Todd Hulk shorter than She-Hulk. I mean, I guess you could argue it's because he's got a super serum that's made from her blood, and so he's an inferior version of her, but he's still a man, and so he would start taller than her. You'd expect him to grow taller than her with the Hulk powers. You'd expect the whole Hulk thing to be just like a multiplier of what you were originally. Hence why Hulk would be stronger than She-Hulk.
I am, as I've been told, I believe the shortest Hulk.
Been told? The shortest Hulk to date. Yes, what they did there was give you short man syndrome, and they reveled in it as they told you. And even you were like, oh, okay, so you're making me this short little, okay. You've made me the manlet of the Hulk world. What I really love about She-Hulk is its subtlety.
You go, that was pretty wild today, acting opposite Ruffalo.
I really feel sorry for this guy. He just loves what he's doing. You can tell he's a fan of the MCU. He's like, yes, I'm just so pleased to be part of it all.
And Maslany in there, CGI dots, and you know that's gonna turn into what it's gonna turn into.
Well, that was some deep philosophy you got into there, mate. Actually, now I think I understand why you're just so happy all of the time.
It's pretty crazy. This whole thing is pretty wild and special.
Everyone involved in this is pretty special. I think we can all agree on that one.
None of these storylines make any sense. Is this working for you?
Was it good for you too? Oh, come on.
I've been in the Marvel Universe for almost 10 years now, and I could say that I've never done anything that has been so close to destroying the Marvel Cinematic Universe as this show is.
I think we can all agree on that one. I did think he was going to go so close to destroying my career, but destroying the entire MCU is even better, let's be faced.
Same way that She-Hulk in the comics
spoke to the writer and the illustrator. And so
Yeah, except in She-Hulk, it's the writer talking through She-Hulk to the audience. It's literally all of the writer's insecurities and desires just being projected onto the audience. Oh, well, you know, Wong really gave us some Twitter armor this week, so at least you won't complain about me now. It would have actually been nice to know She-Hulk's own internal monologue rather than that of the writers.
It was Kevin who actually pitched She-Hulk coming out of the Disney Plus menu.
Yeah, but was that before or after someone pitched coming out of the entire world altogether into the real one? Because whoever that was is the one that I would blame personally. All the ideas after that point were just building on a foundation of festering cat shit.
At one point, I pitched that she should go through the studio and demand to talk to Kevin.
So it was your idea to do the finale then? I was the one that said we should go and talk to Kevin Feige in the real world. Because that's something I do all the time in real life, and I'm absolutely not just projecting my own life into the TV show, because this isn't a self-insert of me, I promise. Not at all.
She would finally get to like the inner sanctum of Kevin, cast it with like John Hamm or George Clooney.
We'd stunt cast it with George Clooney. You thought you could get George Clooney into She-Hulk. But also you see Kevin Feige as George Clooney? Look, I know he's your boss, but you don't have to get down on your knees and make it lovely. I thought those days were over.
Debonair, handsome man in a tuxedo, and that was Kevin.
When you talk about Kevin Feige, you think a debonair man in a tuxedo. I thought it was Daredevil that was supposed to be blind, not you.
Then I was like, no. Like AI kind of, you know, monstrous machine.
See, that's way more honest. First, I wanted to pitch him as a debonair man in a tuxedo, but then I thought, no, we should just make it like real life. A monster. I don't know how I'm going to get away with this, but I think I'm just going to say it was Kevin Feige's idea all along.
It stands for Knowledge Enhanced Visual Interconnectivity Nexus.
Did you run out of money for voice actors, so you just thought you'd do it yourself? I mean, there are a lot of parts in this show which just feature the creators putting themselves in there. I suppose once you've just self-inserted yourself into the writing, you might as well self-insert yourself into the cast. The show definitely lacks boundaries. And quality, obviously, but boundaries.
Were you expecting a man?
Yes. You're called Kevin. This is the TV show I want to watch, where everyone's just acting in ball suits to a giant piece of cardboard. I would laugh myself to the point I couldn't walk if I could actually see the entire thing without CGI.
Transform back to Jennifer.
Why?
You are very expensive.
Look, you say that, but I've seen Jen's life. She's incredibly cheap. Half a plate of chips and she's anybody's. Seriously, for the price of this t-shirt, she'd consider me a high roller.
VizDev was doing different concept drawings of Kevin.
But we decided not to do this one because we didn't want to get sued by Portal.
And then when Kevin saw it, the real Kevin.
I actually quite like that one. It's quite Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it's just going to tell me how depressed it is. A lot like Jen, really.
So get your Kevin hats at the Disney store.
Can you actually get Kevin hats at the Disney store? Did they honestly think that She-Hulk was going to be so popular they made merch for it? I mean, obviously they knew someone would be stupid enough to pay for it, but I didn't think they'd expect two people.
It took a little bit of getting used to at first, just how interconnected everything has to be.
Oh no. Is this going to be another, oh, I'm so upset because I was limited by the canon? I gotta be honest, you're taking the piss making him wear that, aren't you?
Marvel has never let the weight of the universe drag them into something boring.
I will say this about She-Hulk, I was never bored. But it's probably because the episodes were 23 minutes long. I didn't really get the opportunity.
It is such an incredible honor to be a small part of Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I'm glad you said it's an honor to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and not it's an honor to be part of She-Hulk. Because if you said it was an honor to be part of She-Hulk, I wouldn't have believed you.
Such grand storytelling.
They made one for her as well. It's like pre-op prosthetics. Look, try these on for size. This is what you'll be getting in the future if you go through with it. Have a look at a couple of these jubblies.
Able to come in and get...
No wonder she's so happy with herself.
Can't believe what am I doing here?
I just can't believe what I was doing here. I thought it was obvious I didn't know what I was doing, but they just keep paying me. It's amazing. She-Hulk, a comedy? Yeah, it's just funny we all got paid to make this crap.
You know, when I would have hard days, or something didn't go right, or I felt tired or frustrated.
I get the feeling that that was just, like, every scene. If this is what we ended up with when it went right, imagine all the stuff that they cut out because it went wrong. Those are the tapes that I really want to see.
It's been an embarrassment of riches.
I can definitely see this being an embarrassment. It will just coincidentally, accidentally get left off a few people's CVs, I imagine. Like Daredevils.
I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to have an experience like this again.
Is that because you doubt you'll get a season 2? I mean, it's probably very logical and smart, but come on. We all live in hope, don't we?
And yeah, I'm so grateful for it.
That does not sound like the speech of someone that thinks they're going to get a season 2. That's the voice of someone who had a lot of fun making a TV show, but know what they made isn't very good and won't get renewed.
You've taken me from 0 to just above 0.
Why did this show cut out all the best bits? All of the bloopers that you're showing are literally what would have made the TV show actually funny.
It's not that I'm into superheroes, I'm just more attracted to superheroes.
I think everyone would be more attracted to superheroes, wouldn't they? I mean, they're literally super. Them being impressive is part of the job description. Of course everyone would be more attracted to superheroes. Oh, no, I'm not interested in them over there, no. I mean, they're just far too competent. I want a lazy bum. Not like that. Oh, I'm glad we got to see that footage. I didn't know when they were tipping them around, they were actually tipping them around. Because they didn't need to do that. As you can see, it's all on a green screen. And so the car could have stayed flat and they just turned the background around behind them. No one would have made any difference. They just spun them around upside down for lols.
It's easy. I wasn't scared at all.
That was an awkward pause, wasn't it? It looks like he's just about to smack her in the face. She's just walking along and they kind of smack.
Prettier than all of you.
I mean, firstly, she's not wrong. But secondly, somebody put that outside of a door. That was done deliberately. Well, there we have it. The final thoughts from behind the scenes of the cast of She-Hulk. The actual truth about what they thought that they were making. And I don't know why this was far funnier than the actual show. Some of these people were genuinely funny in the interviews, and yet none of that shone through onto the screen. We even saw scenes that were cut out that were actually funny, and I have no idea why they were removed from the final product. No wonder they're doubtful of a season 2. But me, as obviously She-Hulk's biggest fan, can live in hope. Because while She-Hulk may have not been very good entertainment, I had an incredible amount of entertainment making videos about it, and so I'm really glad it exists. And I wish it didn't end. But unless some major news comes out about She-Hulk, it looks like this is the end of that for me. And I hope you've had as much fun watching it as I've had making it. So, let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. She-Hulk may be over, but there's always more shows to review. For that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.